herbs are strong and powerful. And I look at them as kind of like pharmaceuticals. Like, if you take the right one when you need it, it will do miracles and really help your body. But if you take the wrong one, it can actually cause inflammation and harm. Like any herb that, let's say, is strong enough to kill a parasite, if you're taking it at the wrong time, it could cause damage to your body. And I'm not talking like bad damage, but it could cause inflammation, GI upset, headaches, things like that.
Yeah. Welcome to the Ancient Health Podcast, where East meets West in the world of medicine. I'm Dr. Chris Motley. Let's bridge the gap between ancient practices and cutting-edge medicine. Let's get started. Hello, friends. Welcome to the Ancient Health Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Chris Motley. Today, I have a very well-known, respected doctor on Instagram. He's a friend of mine. He owns Supreme Nutrition Products, does a great job. Dr. Noah Lebowitz is here in person with me, and people are going to be excited, I'm telling you, because literally on Instagram, social media, people ask me, hey, did you hear what Dr. Noah said? And I'm like, yes, do it. So, man, thanks so much for joining me today, brother.
It's an honor. I always love chatting with you. And if a podcast is our excuse to chat, then I'm a happy person.
I'm a 100%. I think this podcast, guys, will be, we're just going to go over a lot of different things, but it's like a good conversation. And whenever you pick somebody's mind who's brilliant and who can inform us with the straight facts, that's one thing I love about your conversations and about your talk is that you tell us what you think, and it's just straightforward. And man, people out there see your information. They know that you care about people because the information you put out there. But people want to know about you. That's why I always start with a podcast. They want to know some background. Give us a brief background and then why you got into what you do.
That's a good place to start.
That's a good place, man.
I mean, I grew up with natural health. My dad's been doing this work since 1980, maybe. I mean, my parents were vegetarian for 20 some years. Yes, they are meat eaters now. My mom ran a vegetarian a vegetarian restaurant in Pennsylvania where no one ate healthy.
Yeah.
There's not to make my life, I had a great life growing up, but there is a picture somewhere of, for my birthday, there was a rice cake with a candle on top. So I'm just going to say that back in the day, I had a great childhood. I absolutely loved it. But I was raised in this type of work. Yeah. I was actually born in West Virginia, second poorest county in the United States. My parents wanted to do medical mission work without leaving the United States.
Really?
So a lot of my dad's patients couldn't sign their name. Some people would barter different food, things like that. And, I think our goal is always just to be a mission of helping people by helping them get healthier, and we love to educate people. My goal is not just to tell a person, do this and get better. I want them to know the why behind it. I want to change their lives so they can not just feel better, but then live a healthy life beyond that.
When you were raised in that environment, it was such a norm to you that this is how health is. How was it when you moved from West Virginia and got into, I hate to say the real world, was it a shock?
We've moved around a little bit over the years. So when we moved from West Virginia, I was 4, but then we moved to 40 acres in the middle of nowhere, Colorado. So there was a little health food store. We would go down there every, few days and stuff. So I don't know if I'd still consider that the real world. It was a great world that I miss, but it wasn't quite the real world.
It wasn't. But when you got, so your dad's Dr. Michael Lebowitz, and he was in doing chiropractic and kinesiology. Did you just know that was the path you wanted to take?
Not really. I always loved what my dad did. I loved hearing stories of people getting better. I grew up, we'd muscle test each other from when I was probably 6 years old. So I loved doing it, but I didn't know I wanted to do it as a career. When I went to college, I went to Arizona State University, go Sun Devils. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. Partly I picked that college because it was so large, I could study all kinds of stuff. And I decided after my first year, I'm like, okay, I really like physiology. I like biology. I want to learn more. And I actually went back and forth about med school versus chiropractic school quite often. And I went back and forth on that. I actually did one summer of ovarian cancer research at Yale. I had some published studies from there. Wow. I learned I did not want to do research, but mad respect for the people that did it. And then the thing it's hard. It's honestly, it's weird. If you want to do alternative, I hate the word alternative. It's normal for me, but if you want to do natural medicine, it's actually easier to do it if you're not a medical doctor. Unfortunately, because you're under an eye always. And if you do something that's not the standard of care according to the medical board, you can get in trouble, even if you get all your patients better and they're thrilled with you. So it's unfortunate, but like as a chiropractor, I almost have more freedom to help people naturally than I do as a medical doctor. Wow. And I mean, I took my MCAT, I studied for that with my friends, and then I was like, no, I want to go the chiropractic route. I think it's just a better fit overall.
That's a good point because when I was first considering to go into medicine, I really loved neurology. And I thought that I would love to be some kind of like nerve doctor. I'm saying even like just doing practical neurology. And I thought, well, maybe you do brain surgery. And I read a report about how depression hits a lot of those doctors and very bad depression rates and even drug use. And one of my dad's friend was a chiropractor in Nashville. And he said, if you have a little more freedom, you should go down this route. And so the same, I started thinking, well, I want to have some freedom and put my hands on people. When your dad practiced kinesiology, were you naturally, kinesiology being muscle testing, using muscle response testing, did you naturally gravitate towards that?
It's what I love. I mean, I'm a chiropractor. I do a lot of structure work with my patients, but don't take this the wrong way, but like I wouldn't have gone to chiropractic school if I was only doing structural work.
Yes.
I went to chiropractic school knowing that I wanted to do nutritional work like my dad does.
Yeah.
So, that I went into it with a little bit different mindset than a lot of my classmates.
Yeah. And when you went into that, because did you experience this in school? There are some chiropractic students who literally just think it's just you do structure and that's it. You only adjust.
Yep.
You don't even think about nutrition. I know you were ahead of the game when you went into nutrition, but that was something that you already correlated together at the beginning of it.
100%. I mean, there's miracles that can happen with chiropractic. Someone comes in with chronic back pain and you adjust them once or twice and they're healed and they can live a normal life. Yeah. Those are miracles that can happen. Yeah. But again, I wanted to focus more on the nutritional aspect because I think as a whole, our society has gone so downhill when it comes to nutrition and just that biochemical aspect of life from every aspect. So that's really what I wanted to focus on. And I mean, there was a point in chiropractic school, I think it was either might have been my second trimester. Yeah. I want to say I called my parents and said I was going to drop out because I was just frustrated with some things.
Yeah.
But then I realized that I thought about going to emergency medicine because I think emergency room docs are heroes. They're amazing. They do great stuff to save lives.
Yes.
But the more I thought of it, it's like, no, I want to try to keep people out of there in the first place. My goal was to keep people out of having to go to, not broken arm, but from having like those acute whatever attacks, they have to go to the ER. I wanted to prevent that. And so that's what kind of kept me on my path.
That's amazing because whenever you consider like with kinesiology practices, one of the things I really love is that they always correlate like the muscles, your muscles through the nervous system is correlated to a lot of organ work. And so nutrition can help and clean those things up, which when you started when you got out of school, did you practice up in the Northwest? Was that right? You first started there?
I have a bad habit of moving around. So I set up after I graduated, got married 2 weeks later, and then set up a practice in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Okay. Yeah.
Practiced in Scottsdale for 2 years.
Yep.
Then my wife and I decided the heat was too much. So we moved up to Gig Harbor, Washington.
Yep.
Started a practice from scratch there. Worked there 3 years. Summers are absolutely gorgeous. The lack of sunshine in the winter is soul destroying. We couldn't pick it. So sold the practice.
Yeah.
Moved out to Maui.
Yeah.
Spent 6 amazing years there.
Yeah.
Set up a new practice, all kinds of fun stuff. And now we recently moved to Texas. So I've done a few different practices.
That's good. I mean, but hey, chalk it up to experience. That's what I'm talking about, Well, that leads us into you own Supreme Nutrition. And what took you down that route? I mean, when that started, like describe that and talk about that.
So in 2006, we did a family vacation to Kauai. Mm-hmm. And at a local health food store, my dad found an organic noni fruit leather that he ate. There's a lot more to the story, but it got rid of a chronic fungal issue that he'd had. Wow. And it really helped clear him when nothing had. Mm-hmm. And my dad had done product development for Thorne Research for 25 years about. And he basically said, hey, I found this awesome noni. It's really helping people. Would you be interested in coming out? They said no. My dad did not have any interest in running a company whatsoever. That's not his personality. He likes a simple life.
Yeah.
And so he went to a friend of his that he'd done some work making magnets in the past and said, I really believe in this product. It's going to help a lot of people. Can you help me out? And so my dad's friend basically started a company that my dad did all the quality control, said, this is what you do, this is what you do. And he did it. And then after, I'm not sure, 10 years or so, my dad's friend, who was in his late 70s, he wanted to retire so he could fish and mushroom hunt and just enjoy life as he should.
Yeah.
And the problem, almost every company nowadays has been bought and sold. If you look at all, not naming names, but almost all the supplement companies have been bought and sold.
Yeah.
And just because they've been bought and sold does not mean the quality goes down.
Yeah.
It doesn't. But it definitely makes you cautious of things.
Yeah.
And my dad knew that if anyone bought the company, he couldn't guarantee the quality would stay the same. And the company was always his baby since every product came out because of him, the quality and all of that. So it was kind of just put in my lap of, if we want the company to stay with the same quality that my dad needs to be able to work on patients, it was me.
Yeah.
I didn't go to school for it, but so I took it over. I've definitely thinned out on hair because of it, but it's been a blessing because I've definitely seen the benefits people have received from using the products, and that makes it worthwhile.
You definitely have fulfilled one of your many callings in this life, and man, kudos to you and to your dad about how much you've cared. And I say it with all sincerity. When you guys created Supreme and you have quality control, can you describe? We'll get into like the types of herbs, but quality control. That's one thing I really wanted to talk to you about, because you're talking about many of the companies are bought and sold, and some of their practices of cleanliness, and that's one thing you really talk about. Can you talk about, I guess, the general aspect of uncleanliness in the supplement realm? Like, what do they do to the pills that could possibly be toxic to patients as opposed to clean products?
There's a lot of different aspects of it. People advertise GMP certified. If you sell a product across state lines, you have to be GMP certified. Like, it doesn't mean anything. So there's a lot of things that's like, my dad and I always joke, oh, this spinach is gluten-free. Who cares? It doesn't mean anything, So that's one thing. When it comes to products, one thing with Supreme at least, there's certain herbs that we can't come out with because you can't put them in a capsule without adding something. And that's a big thing. One thing my dad has always wanted as pure as possible. So herb and a vegetable cellulose capsule, which is made from pine bark and nothing else.
Wow.
So there's a lot of if you read your supplements if you look at the supplement panel, other ingredients, that's like the most important thing to read on a bottle. One of the most common things you see is vegetable stearate or magnesium stearate. The reason that they do it is it allows you to make capsules about 10 times faster. So that drops the cost a lot. But no one actually knows, where does magnesium stearate come from? It comes from genetically modified hydrogenated cottonseed oil. So I'm guessing all the people watching your podcast, if they see that on a label, they're not going to eat it.
Yeah.
But that's in all your supplements you're getting. And they don't know it. And doctors don't know it because they were never taught it.
Wow.
And even some of the supplement companies don't know it. It's just what you do.
Yes.
So that's one thing with Supreme is we don't add anything. And some of our products, if we added something, we could bottle a whole year's worth in a day. But it takes us a week because we have to slow down the machines. So there's ways to do it, but you gotta work it gently, go slower. Just kind of ease it in sometimes.
Yeah.
And on occasion break a machine. That's another topic. But so that's the big thing. And then all of our products, they're lab tested for microbes usually 3 times, including third-party labs. They're tested for heavy metals 2 to 3 times, including from a third-party lab. So they're as clean as can be for that. But then every time we get a new batch in, basically I have suppliers, farms that I work with.
Yes.
And I try to get in 2 to 3 different batches. And I send them to my dad. And all I tell him is these pass labs. And then he takes patients and muscle tests them on his patients and says, this is the batch you go with. He doesn't know the cost. He doesn't know anything else besides they passed labs.
Wow.
And then so he tells me that. And it's frustrating because like sometimes it's pretty easy to find a new batch. I have a great Kamu supplier, but they know me. So they send me 12 different batches from all different farms across Peru. And then I give, since it's a hard one, and my dad will literally pass like 1 or possibly 2 out of 12 and says the rest we wouldn't come out with.
What?
So, it's like another level. But then for whatever reason, the products just seem to work better. Like ashwagandha, one of the most common herbs in the world.
Yep.
And a lot of doctors my dad's trained, they've used ashwagandha and they're like, never really worked. And then they came and it never really muscle tested. Then they tried our ashwagandha when they came out with it and they're like, what are you doing to it? Because it works.
Yes.
And my dad's like, I just kept testing till I found one that muscle tested well. And that's what we came out with. And it seems to work. So it's like checking some type of energetic aspect of the herb because labs only tell part of the picture.
Yeah.
Did you have good clean air that year? Did you have good water that year?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Volcanoes go off. I mean, there can be so many different factors that can confound things that I think you just can't measure on a lab necessarily.
Yes. And that's a testament to you. I think one of the things that I loved about Supreme when I first gotten involved with it, I remember that I saw you guys at a kinesiology conference or one of your conferences that you had given, and my dad is very sensitive, and even my mom. And my dad would not. He took a Chinese herbal formula, and I'm not saying it caused it, but he believed it led to some of his like almost TIA stuff because he didn't know what happened to him. He was like, I took this and I got lightheaded and he went to the hospital. So my dad was always so wary of anything after. He was a big health nut. Like he would take herbs and stuff. After that, he stopped. And when I gave him Supreme, I said, Dad, this is testing really, really well. Because I get pretty stringent. I was like, out of everything I've tested, I'm telling you this stuff's clean. He would take it and he would say, where did you get that? And I was like, he said, I'm not having any reactions. And I was like, good on you. Like, this is great. So that's why I love the product. When you go and find the farms, like, do you just like through the grapevine, you guys had to go and just find these people and just search out?
It's been a process over the years, let's just say, and my dad and I go to some of the biggest herb and supplement conventions in the world. We hear word of mouth from people. We've met, it's just a big variety, and it's always, it's always searching for better options. And sometimes you can't find any.
Yeah.
But then if you find someone that you trust, that means a lot.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I don't trust a lot of herbs that come from China.
Yeah.
I don't. You have a lot of quality control issues. But I'd say 95% of our Chinese herbs come from one supplier that we meet with in person. He goes back and forth from China to here. He contracts with the farms. And it's so one of my favorite herbs in the world, golden thread, Chinese coptis.
Yes.
I love it. And I always, if I ever get a sore throat, I gargle with it. I open a capsule, mix some water, and gargle with it. Worst tasting stuff in the world. Works amazing. And it's funny. So Coptis is one of those, the price has gone up astronomical. It's probably gone up 4x over the past 6 years, let's just say. It's gone up a lot. And so this one company contacted me and they're like, hey, could we give you some Coptis? So they sent me, they wanted me to buy from them. Yeah. So they sent me it passed all the labs. It was clean. It was organic. Everything was great. But so most companies, they would just come out with it. On paper, you couldn't get better. But then I taste it. I smell it. It tastes like the weakest Coptis you could ever find. It had no flavor to it. I know what Coptis tastes like. I know what I've snorted it. I know what it smells like. And I'm like, this doesn't taste like Coptis. It tastes like dirt.
Yeah.
And it was a quarter of the price. But I'm like, we can't do it.
Yeah.
And that definitely having that trust with certain trust, but verify, but having trust in that really makes a big difference.
I love the way you described about the quality of the land, the air and the water. And I would never consider if I bought a bottle of something that I would even think what water was produced or in the water table around the herb or the plants. So when you guys find all the suppliers, you guys get these things together, what then gets your engines going about which herbs to use? How do you know which herbs to produce? for the?
It's a great question. We want it to have a few different things. I mean, I guess the three things we look at is one, is there good published research showing benefits of the herb?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, if something looks good on paper and it doesn't work, I don't care. I'm not going to use it. But I want it to have good published research to kind of get my gears going.
Mm-hmm.
It has to muscle test well.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, we're not going to come out with it. And then I want to actually use it on people and like, does it actually help? Does it make people feel better? Does it help with certain conditions?
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to do all of those things, since if not, why we're going to come out with it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, with products, it's like we haven't wanted to come out with something if we felt like it was on par with other products. We really only wanted to come out with something if we believed it's better than anything else out there.
Yes.
Otherwise,
yes.
we're like, why waste our time?
Yeah, that's right.
So that's kind of been a driving factor for us.
I think it's a really good point because with so many, I would say fads, because we see them in the health world about different fads and different supplements. One of the things I really enjoy that you have taught, especially over the years, is we understand there's combinations that work really well together, but you guys have chosen to do more single ingredient. There are some combos, but why do you guys like to use like more single ingredient herbs?
So I look at herbs as really strong.
Mm-hmm.
And, like wild greens is basically like wild forested weeds. I mean, it's kind of a multi-nutrient, let's call it. But, herbs are strong and powerful. And I look at them as kind of like pharmaceuticals of like, if you take the right one when you need it, it will do miracles and really help your body.
Mm-hmm.
But if you take the wrong one, it can actually cause inflammation and harm. Like any herb that, let's say, is strong enough to kill a parasite, if you're taking it at the wrong time, it could cause damage to your body. And I'm not talking like bad damage, but it could cause inflammation, GI upset, headaches, things like that.
Yeah.
So if you get a anti-parasitic product that has like 10 good anti-parasitics,
Yep.
I guarantee if you took every single ingredient and muscle tested on someone, $1 million. All 10 are not going to test on the person. I understand the shotgun approach. It's easy, but not all of them. And so the problem is, it's like, let's say there's 2 ingredients that are beneficial for the person.
Uh-huh.
There's 2 that are harmful for the person.
Yeah.
And the other 6, I kind of call them like iceberg lettuce. They're just irrelevant. They don't do anything.
Yeah.
And then so it's like in some people, the 2 might work and get someone better.
Yep.
In a lot of people, the 2 that are harmful are going to screw up the whole process. So it's either not going to work or it's going to take forever.
Mm-hmm.
But then also the 2 that the body needs, because there's 9 other or 8 other herbs in there, there's not enough to be a therapeutic dose. So what we like, let's say you need neem or Malia and there's 5 other products in there, you might be getting 100 milligrams of Malia. So I'd rather give you just a Malia pill that's 500 milligrams. You're getting 5x, and you're just getting that and none of the bad stuff.
That's right.
And then we see people really do better. So, I mean, there is some synergy in nature, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But especially for antimicrobials specifically, I would rather evaluate my patient in the office for 50 different items and give them just the 2, 3, 4, whatever that they need. So then I'm not giving them any of the stuff they don't need, and they're actually getting therapeutic doses of the ones that they need.
That's a good point, because if you, we see it a lot of times where there's, we're not going to name any companies, but there's times when they'll give a lot of different bottles of combinations. And do you see that if a person has taken a combination capsule, that sometimes they'll detoxify too quickly? They may have a little bit of a reaction to it. Is that it would make it hard for the person to know what ingredient causes the issue?
100%. So, if you're taking something with a bunch of things in, it's very difficult to tell what is doing it.
Yes.
I have a bit of a different philosophy than a lot of people out there.
Mm-hmm.
When someone comes to see me as my patient,
Mm-hmm.
besides, if I take them off caffeine, I'm like, you might go through a week of withdrawals. I understand.
Uh-huh.
But besides that, I want my patients not to feel worse than they are that first day.
Yes.
I'm like, if you're here and we're going to here, it can be a bit of a roller coaster. You're going to have ups and downs, but your down should not be worse than when you came in to see me. If so, 9 times out of 10, I find a person is reacting to a supplement. So like if I give someone products and then they call me up in a week and they're like, I don't know, something just feels off.
Yeah.
I either have them come in or I talk to them and then we tweak and we'll find out which one's screwing them up, stop that, and just take the others, and then they just skyrocket and feel better. So I really like people to feel better only. I don't want people to feel worse before they get better.
That's a great point. I remember you and your dad were talking about combinations that you put a person on, and another doc in AK that I like to talk with, he compared it to like having a good soup. He said like their recipes. He said if you get the right ingredients of like 3 or 4 capsules, if it's the right ingredients, it tastes good to the body basically, and the body should feel better. So if a person is going through a horrible Herx reaction, like a horrible detox, that tells me that one of the things is not agreeing with them.
Yeah, I mean, and it could be doing a couple things. It could just be the person doesn't need it at all.
Yeah.
It could be the person needed it then didn't need it anymore. Or, you know, like some things can do good and bad at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, what did they use in the 1800s for syphilis? Mercury. Mercury got rid of your syphilis, but you might go crazy and die in another way. So, I mean, you know, like, I mean, obviously an herb's not going to be like giving someone mercury, but, you know, it's like things can do good and bad at the same time.
Yeah.
And so that's just like, I don't want people to be on something that it might be working, but it's just tormenting them at the same time.
Yes.
To me, I'd rather find another option.
Is that when a person goes to a practitioner, that would make me suggest, or from this, like suggest them to always be aware if a practitioner, like if they find, let's say, mold or an infection, then they say, well, this supplement protocol, these multi-combinations, they just give it to them. So they just take that. That could give them the risk of like getting to a reaction.
It's definitely a higher chance. I mean, some people do great on them. Don't get me wrong. And then, but a lot of the time, it's like the person starts on this whole protocol, a bunch of different supplements, and they call up the doc after 5 days and like, doc, I don't know what you did, but I just feel horrible.
Yep.
And the doc's like, you're having a Herx reaction. That's great. That's a good thing.
Yep.
Like I had a patient with Lyme disease and her LLMD put her on this whole protocol and she ended up in a wheelchair. And the doc's like, great, we're killing it. Well, to me, that's like the worst thing you could ever do. I mean, you're just crashing the person.
Wow.
So again, I mean, I know I go against the grain a little bit on this, but at least with my patients when I'm working with them, I don't see them get worse. Once every 2 or 3 years, heavy metal detox can stir a couple things up. But again, I'm talking like a patient every couple years specifically with heavy metals. With other stuff, it shouldn't happen.
That we're going to talk a bit about that, but I think it's a really good viewpoint, because I have found that the body will layer out. So what I do love is that you've had these on Instagram, and your dad showed me a video of the gentleman who came with the diabetes and had his foot in a boot, and he gave them those supplements and he let it work and it helped him feel better. He didn't get a Herx reaction at all. He could use his foot again, as in like he could pressure on there. So when you know that the ingredients are cleaning off and they get a person better, so a person who's taking a protocol, you change at times when they come back. Is that a way that your body, like let's say you had Lyme, you clean it off and maybe something else is coming up and you're able to find it and flush it out?
I think it can be a couple different things. I think sometimes, like you mentioned, it's layers.
Yeah.
So sometimes it is peeling. I try to treat as many layers as I can on a first visit.
Okay.
I'm not afraid to go, to help someone dealing with a lot of things at once.
Yes.
But sometimes, you get the outer layer, then they come back and you get the inner layer, and then you get another layer. So that can totally happen. But then other times, I think it's like, okay, to help with this one microbe, you're doing these things and it got it halfway, but then it needs something else. And I mean, with Lyme specifically, like if you look at Borrelia, there's different forms. So Lyme can switch back and forth. You have a spirochete form, you have a cell deficient form, you have a cyst form.
Yes.
And it can switch back and forth. So depending on what form it's in, you need to change what you're giving the person. And that's one thing is like, most of the time when I give a patient a supplement, I like to see them again 3 weeks and reevaluate them. That's like my sweet spot with people. But sometimes a patient doesn't need a supplement for 3 weeks. So sometimes like if you're doing awesome and then in a week you start feeling worse, to me that's time to switch it up. And it might be
yeah.
like, it could be, okay, we killed stuff, then you need to start pulling it out, like detox, build up, and then kill again. Or it might just be, okay, we got rid of that layer. Now the next layer's there and we need to deal with that. So there could be a bunch of different aspects to it, but I definitely find if I keep patients feeling better and not worse, they definitely have better outcomes.
And it's true. And their congruency to your plan is so much more effective because they know that they're getting better. They're not bedridden like after they take something.
Totally.
And when you start to see that you change up the supplementation, one thing I want people out there to understand too is that I love it because when I use the protocol, I'll find muscle testing, you'll find different things that show up. And I like to, I say blind testing. It's like you just take the supplement, the offending agent, you try to find the herb that can help it. And I love it that on your website, you can type in like a microbe. And sometimes I didn't know an herb worked on that specific infection. And it will show right up. And I'm like, that is why I found it. And to me, though, whenever you know that specific herbs through research have been found to kill something, are you seeing now more and more that there's a trend, not a trend, but people are now waking up? I know in our world we've seen people doing it. More people are waking up to it, like knowing the herbs can help with these type of conditions.
I think people are. I mean, it's one of those things of everyone that's being objective should look at today's health of society and realize we're all getting sicker.
Yeah.
No one can say we are getting healthier by any means.
Yes.
So I think people that are not in self-denial and realizing that are looking for other options out there.
Yes.
And so I definitely do think that is part of it.
Yeah.
And I think on social media and online in the past, there has been a lot of natural health suppression.
Yes.
And I think that has gone away, which I will say is good and bad, because then you also have a lot of really bad advice that comes out there and it's hard for people to sort it through.
Yeah.
So, you know, blessing and a curse, let's just say that. But definitely it's much more, it's not being shut down like it used to, which I think is great.
Yeah. I think that definitely you start to see like the good with the bad. And with the experience that you've had, I wanted to touch base because I know a lot of the listeners out there want to hear about these things. But in this area, and I know it can happen in Texas and all over the country, all over the world, a big popular subject is mold. And it is a subject that is very emotional for some people because I just worked on a patient today and has had chronic issues with mold to where it sometimes brings her to tears. Can you touch on that about mold and why it's so prevalent right now and why we're seeing you think it's coming out so much right now?
Here's a crucial health secret. Our cells need nutrients, just like we do. The problem is some of the most vital nutrients don't always make it into our cells. Liposomes are microscopic spheres that transport critical nutrients into the bloodstream and into the cells. Livon Labs was the first company to use liposome encased dietary supplements. Their liposome encased vitamin C is a powerful antioxidant that supports your immune system beautifully. It is proven to give long-lasting antioxidant power to the blood and to the cells. It protects your DNA, and it fights oxidative stress that can weaken immune cells. It's great for this time of year when you're fighting every virus known to man. Right now, you can get 10% off Livon Labs site-wide. That means 10% off their liposomal vitamin C for immune health, vitamin D for healthy bones, or glutathione for reducing oxidation. Go to livonlabs.com. That's livonlabs.com and enter the code Motley. Let's feed our cells.
Over the past few weeks, I've shared about WaveWatch, a sound frequency wearable designed to help your body rest, rebalance, and heal naturally. In my recent interview with John from WaveWatch, we discussed testimonies ranging from sleep and anxiety to tremors, kidney stones, and PTSD. The frequency sets are rooted in holistic health and frequency medicine. And there is an amazing sleep set designed to play all night, which is based on the Chinese medicine body clock, which will help your sleep excel. WaveWatch is family run by Linda, Joseph, and John, and they truly care about people's health beyond just a product. It's easy to use, non-invasive, and risk-free with a 30-day guarantee. Try today and get $100 off with code Dr. Motley at wavewatch.com/Dr. Motley.
I mean, you know, mold's been around forever. I mean, I just did a video so in Judaism, you read a different part of the first 5 books of the Bible every week.
Okay.
And so last week's portion talks about Leviticus 13 and 14. Don't, if I'm wrong. Leviticus 13, 14, something called sarat, which is basically a fungal issue where it talks about things growing on your skin, things growing on the walls of your house, things growing on your clothing. And so fungal issues have been around for 4,000 years.
Yes.
But they're way worse now than they used to be. And I think there's a ton of different reasons for that. I mean, partly our terrain is worse. We are sicker than we used to be for so many different reasons. So it's easier for it to populate inside of us. I think tighter, energy efficient homes are a blessing and a curse.
Yes.
You know, they've done studies how Wi-Fi and electromagnetic radiation or EMFs will increase mold growth.
Really?
So there's so much more of that nowadays that can cause it. A lot of, if you look at females, a lot of women have a spike in their symptoms based off where they are in their cycle. And big reason that I find is because if you look at candida growth, it is actually increased by estriol. So estrogen. And so as estrogen goes up during their cycle, that'll increase candida growth and increase their symptoms.
Wow.
And as a whole, our society, men and women, are overestrogenated for many I just lectured on this today. We're all overestrogenated from xenoestrogens, from phthalates, from BPA, from, you know, there's so many different aspects we're overestrogenated, and that also can increase the fungal growth. So I think there's a lot of different aspects of it. But definitely it makes our fungal, you know, again, my dad had fungal issues 30 some years ago. That's why we left West Virginia.
Yeah.
So they've been around for a while. So I think it's a mix of their worse and then we're just less healthy.
Yes. Do you find like that patients that come to you, like for your father who had fungal, does that somehow make the kids more susceptible to mold, or do you believe it's just the environment that they're in, or have you seen anything like that?
It can go both ways. I mean, you know, the biggest way that I see people get fungal issues, my dad always coined the term spouse or house. You know, so like if your spouse has a fungal issue, 10-second French kiss, I think you pass back and forth like 6 million bacteria. And I mean, that's not even counting fungi or other things. So it's like you get people that get a new relationship and they get sick. And I'm not talking like from emotional stuff. It's like they picked up an infection from their partner.
Yes.
Or if you have mold growing in your school, in your house, in your place of worship, you can breathe it in and then it colonizes inside you. So a lot of the times if like a parent has it, the kid's been exposed to. Like if you have a moldy house. I mean, but what you mentioned, I mean, my dad was talking to my wife about this, and it was like, you know, being exposed to mold is bad, but also you don't want to be so paranoid of it that the stress ruins your health also. Because, you know, it's like sometimes the stress of being exposed to the mold can be worse than the mold itself.
Yes.
But believe me, I mean, the mold is bad. The mold is bad. Don't get me wrong on that. So, you know, theoretically, if the parents talk about mold and scare their kids about it, it could play an emotional factor also.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, you know, a lot of the times I do see it's literally growing inside people and we need to do it. I mean, one thing is kind of fun. Like if patients are always a little skeptical about what I do, we get a mold petri dish. So it's like a dish and have them spit in it and see what grows. It'll blow your mind. I mean, if they're a little skeptical about what I'm telling them, I'm like, spit in this and show me what grows in 7 days. Okay, I'm going to do whatever you say. Like after they see it, I mean, they believe it because it's like, dang, that's growing inside me.
Yes.
So, you know, it's interesting.
When it grows, though, okay, so if you do see a person that comes in and they have mold, do you try to let the patient know that their spouse or their partner possibly needs to do a detox as well?
Yes. I mean, I try to evaluate the partner also. I'd say probably 40% of the time, and this is just a rough estimate, I think the person is going to be really hard to get better if we don't treat the spouse also. So a majority, it seems like you don't have to treat the spouse and it's okay. But 30, 40% is a pretty big number.
It really is.
So
yeah.
for people that aren't getting over something, I like to play detective with patients.
Yeah.
Again, spouse, house, it could be a lot of patients come with a lot of fungal issues.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously we want to test their house for mold, but one thing is I want to get rid of their pillows since they're breathing stuff in. So like if you have a fungal issue, you breathe into the pillow and that can start to colonize and grow.
Wow.
I remember Dr.
Wow.
Klinghardt, I don't know where he got the stat, but he said in the first year of owning a mattress, it gained 7 pounds. What the heck? I mean,
7 pounds of.
that's where he 7
That's
pounds.
amazing.
I don't know what all that is, 7 pounds, but he said 7 pounds. I mean, I've only had to have a couple people get rid of their mattress to get better.
Yes.
It happens on occasion,
Yes.
but pillow's an easy one, and I definitely do see that. So if a person has a bad fungal issue, I'd like to have them get rid of their pillow.
Well, okay. And what about? I'm sensitive about animals and people, but no, nothing against animals, cats or dogs. So don't take it that way. What about pets? I mean, can they?
Definitely. I mean,
Carry that?
especially if a pet that licks you a lot.
Yeah.
So I've definitely had, it's not super common, but I've definitely had people that we had to treat their pet to get them healthier.
Wow.
This was a long time ago. I don't even know if I was born or not. My dad had a patient. I always remember the story. And the patient it was either eczema or psoriasis over their whole body.
Yeah.
And my dad was trying to get him better. And he was just striking out, which really frustrates him if he's striking out. It doesn't happen, thankfully, that often. But he was. So then he's talking to her, going more in depth. And she said how her dog slept in her bed every night. So my dad's like, but then she's like, don't worry. The dog has rheumatoid arthritis and the vet's going to put him under next month. And my dad's like, and he kept finding a fungus on her.
Yeah.
So he's like, let's try this. So they treated the dog. Dog's rheumatoid arthritis went away. Vet didn't have to put the dog under, and then all of her skin issues cleared.
That's amazing. So and I'm not going down the route of like the top 3 things you should do. I'm saying what would be some herbs that you find in your practice that you commonly see help with mold issues?
If I had to list my top 4, like I'm just going to say 4. I love Morinda, which is noni. Again, that's how my dad first found out with Supreme Nutrition. I love Malia, which is neem leaf.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Chinese copsis or golden thread. I mean, those are my 3 absolute favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I added a 4th, I would say Scutellaria.
Yes.
Scutellaria bicalensis, it has so many good properties for so many different things, but it's cool because, again, we're not just trying to take a Western medical approach. It's not like take this pill for this thing. Mm-hmm. If you look at the research, there is anti-candida properties from Scutellaria, but also it helps lower inflammation in the body. It helps balance interleukins, like interleukin 17. It helps to balance things, so it helps change your terrain in a positive way. Mm-hmm. Also, Scutellaria I love because it's been traditionally used in breastfeeding and pregnant moms. So it's a great one since I get a lot of patients that are moms or, pregnant for the first time or breastfeeding. And so I'm extremely cautious in what I give them. And Scutellaria is a great one that's been traditionally used in Chinese medicine for thousands of years during this time. Yeah. So it's one of my favorites for that reason also.
Wow, man, this is so good. I'm going with this, man. I'm just picking your brain, but a lot of the people that watch the podcast have also suffered from Lyme disease, and we are hearing that. I know there was a book about how could the government been involved in producing, and now they say there is documentation of it being bioweapon. I know it's a sensitive subject, but I remember sometimes doctors even here in Nashville, and they would say, oh, Lyme disease is only in one area of the country. And you and your dad have been finding Lyme disease for as long as, you guys have been practicing. Can you touch a bit on Lyme disease and the amount you're seeing in your office?
I mean, it's interesting with Lyme. If you look at my Instagram, I virtually never talk about Lyme disease.
You don't talk a lot about that.
I don't. And a lot of my patients come into me for Lyme disease. Like we've had patients fly in from all over the country, from out of country for Lyme. But the reason I don't like to talk about it is there's no protocol for Lyme disease. I have a protocol for how I evaluate people with Lyme disease.
Yes.
But Lyme people are generally more sensitive and everyone needs a very individual plan or they crash.
Yes.
I mean, with
Yes.
Lyme, a big thing is too, like, if you just have Lyme disease, you're generally pretty dang healthy. It's like they've found Borrelia in mummies from ancient Egypt from thousands of
Wow.
years ago.
Wow.
But it's like, if you talk to a good Lyme doctor,
Yeah.
it's like, if you just have Lyme, you're fine. But it's when you have fungal issues, when you have heavy metals, when you have parasites, those are going to weaken you. They're going to cause more havoc on your immune system. So then Lyme shows up. So, I mean, I have a lot of patients that show up on Borrelia, and I don't blink twice. I don't lose a moment of sleep. You just deal with them as a whole and they get better.
Yes.
But then I definitely do have my Lyme cases, and they definitely take a little extra care.
Yeah.
I work with them a lot more often because, like I mentioned, how their forms can shift of Borrelia between spirochete, subwell deficient, and depending on what form they're in, you might need to change their supplementation. It's kind of frustrating, but like sometimes you have to change their supplements every few days.
Yep.
And if you do that, they really do well. And if you don't, they crash and burn. So it's like you don't want to just focus on Lyme.
Yep.
And I mean, the thing with Lyme is also lab tests. I mean, they miss a lot.
Yes.
The best tests still miss a lot.
Yes.
But then I've had patients where they're very positive for Lyme on labs, but it's not causing their symptoms.
That's a good point.
You know, and it's like you treat something else and then they get all better.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't like to pigeonhole people in Lyme.
Yes.
And I'm like you mentioned, I mean, I don't care if most people that have Lyme were never bit by a tick.
Yep.
Of the people that were bit by a tick that got Lyme, most never had a bullseye rash.
Yes.
You know,
Yes, yes.
so there's a lot of things to consider. I mean, you can get it from your mom.
Yes.
Could you get it from your dad? I don't know, but you can definitely get it from your mom in utero.
Yep.
So that's one way. There's a lot of debate. Can you get it from mosquitoes?
Yes.
That's one way.
Yes.
Also, I mean, some people say, so again, you have a cyst form.
Yes.
And if you're eating wild hunted meat, which is great quality, but like deer, it can have the Borrelia cyst in there.
Yes.
And I don't know for sure, but depending who you talk to, you can't destroy that cyst unless you get above 500 degrees. And most people aren't doing that 500 degrees on your wild venison. You don't want that thing well done. So, you know, you could theoretically get cysts in from that. Ideally, your stomach acid's going to kill it and whatnot. But if you're in a compromised state, theoretically, you could get it that way too.
Yes.
So I don't care if a person's ever been bit by a tick. I don't care where they grew up, any of that type of stuff.
Yep.
Anyone could have Lyme.
That's a great point because when patients come in, I will say that I'm usually finding certain funguses and mold and certain bacterias. And when I do find like a really big Lyme expression from what I'm assessing, I always take back and I'll go, oh, wow, this is a big Borrelia case. And because you're right, there are co-infections that are so prevalent, the body would say, hi, Candida, you need to kill this off. I had a patient that had come in the other day, a young lady, and from all of her symptoms, I would have thought, and that sounds like a Lyme case to me.
Yeah.
Took the kits, Candida, just Candida, Candida, Candida. And I was, you know, as a practitioner, you think, no, it can't be that. It has to be this. Start to use the Supreme, put her on 2 to 3 herbs, stops being manic. She's going to sleep at night. She's not going anxious the whole night. Did another test from her medical doctor, and they called her back and said, this kid's got Candida off the charts. And you're right, you have to like make sure you're objective and look at all the facts about what's expressing itself. Now, with Lyme and all the co-infections, another thing that you see that people are really concerned about is parasites. I know it's becoming really, really popular. If you find that parasites are in the body, what are some of the sources that you find that people can get parasites from?
Animals licking you, that can be a big one.
Yeah.
I mean, fish, you can definitely get it from eating fish.
Yes.
I've we've bought wild Alaskan salmon before. That's had parasites in it.
Yeah.
I've fished in Hawaii and caught fish that have some big old parasites in those things. But also, you've had people, remember when I lived in Arizona, there was this whole news article. This person went in for brain surgery because they got diagnosed with a brain tumor. So they cut them open. It was a tapeworm that was in their brain, and they traced it back to eating at a undercooked pork at a Mexican restaurant.
Oh my word.
So I
Wow.
mean, it's not like it used to be, you have to live in tropical environments, blah, 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 for parasites. Everyone's exposed to parasites.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
personally, I think mold and fungal issues cause more and worse symptoms than parasites as a general rule, not always. But I was just talking to my dad about this. I think if you looked at our notes, we probably find parasites more than we find fungal and mold issues.
Okay.
So I think most people have parasites for sure. But again, could be animal, could be food, could be unwashed produce. It's one of those things I don't even worry about it anymore. Like, we've had a couple of people where they came to get recurring parasites, and you can almost like trace it back to a restaurant that they go to, or like a produce stand where they're not washing the stuff well or something like that. So sometimes you can, but usually I don't even worry where they got it.
That's when you get a person that has higher parasites, or let's say they do come in with higher fungal. Is it the toxins you say that they produce that's causing some of the infections, and you have to clean out the toxins as well? Because everybody's talking about binders and such.
I don't know is the answer. I mean, let's talk, since I know it a little better, I will say, let's talk mold, fungal, mycotoxins, all that.
Yeah.
So people talk about dealing with the mycotoxins. I mean, if you have a Candida albicans infection inside you, it can produce over 200 different mycotoxins.
Heavens.
So I always believe in going after the active fungal infection first. I don't know the answer is, are the symptoms caused by the mycotoxins or are the symptoms caused by the living fungus? I can't say.
Yes.
I think both, personally.
Both, yes.
But you're never going to get rid of the mycotoxins if you don't deal with the active fungal infection first.
Yes.
And clinically, not talking research-wise, clinically, a lot of my mold cases, a lot of my parasite cases, I don't give a binder.
Yes.
I don't. I just don't find the need for it. It doesn't show up in my testing, and the patients get better, they don't crash, and they just do well. So is it either the toxins produced by them weren't a big deal? Is it the body was already getting rid of the toxins, but there were new ones being produced, so once we killed it, new ones weren't produced?
Yes.
But then also, again, we're trying to get people healthier. So if I'm working on someone, ideally, their liver's going to be getting healthier. Their kidneys are going to be getting healthier. And if your liver's healthy, your kidneys are healthy, then you can actually excrete things like mycotoxins, because usually it's like your kidneys and your liver gets gunked up from mycotoxins. But if I'm getting rid of a fungus, then it's going to stop producing acetaldehyde and benzene. Your liver's going to be on cloud 9 so that it can start dumping those, if you get rid of Candida albicans, fungal infections in the body can actually increase oxalate production. And then that can be a big kidney stress. So then if we get rid of that fungal stress, your kidneys aren't stressed out by the oxalates, and it can focus on dealing with the mycotoxins. So I can't say 100% what's happening. I can just say it's happening.
Yes. And so the premise would be, if you are able to get rid of the fungus and all the toxins and the new ones they produce, giving relief to the kidneys and liver, then it may give the body the ability to naturally start clearing out the parasites, because they can live in symbiosis in some way.
Definitely. I mean, sometimes it's not super often, but sometimes I will basically go in and have to bind and pull out stuff. I'm not scared to do that. I had a patient recently and her lymph was clogged up, and I was shocked, but it was from mycotoxins.
Yeah.
But again, I don't see that. That's more the abnormal case, not the general rule.
Yes. Okay. And with this, because they're going to ask, they're going to say, and you guys need to look at his Instagram feed, because he gives you great advice. But I know that many different herbals can effectively clean out Lyme and clean out parasites. But parasitically, do you find that do you still love the neem, the Malia, or the golden thread? What are your favorites on those?
If I had to list favorites, I would definitely say Malia or neem. I would say Vedanga.
Yeah, I love Vedanga.
It's
love it.
Not well-known Ayurvedic herb, but it's one of my absolute favorites.
Love it.
I've actually used a lot of Cryptolepis for parasites lately.
Yes, keep going. I love this.
And I've used it for fungal issues too, but that's becoming one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And I use it more in kids, but I've had good results with adults also. Black walnut, it's a classic, but it just works well.
I'm with you. At times I've found Cryptolepis, and I know it's a big Lyme cleanser, and I will find it for different parasites, and I've seen it help with certain viral things, and I'm super impressed. So this is such good convo. now with the infections involved, I did want to touch a bit about like metals. You were talking about toxic metals and such. That's a big part of your kits. Could you just touch a bit about like what heavy metals do and such to the body?
I mean, my dad always taught me weird neurological symptoms that don't make sense. Think heavy metals. But heavy metals can cause a ton of different issues. I mean, it can cause brain fog. It can cause chronic fatigue. It can cause recurring joint pain. One weird thing about metals is my dad always taught this, and I definitely see it to be true. It's like if you have a lot of metals inside you, it almost makes your body like an antenna for EMFs, and it makes you more sensitive to electromagnetic fields.
Wow.
So a lot of people that are really EMF sensitive, if we detox their metals, then their EMF sensitivity goes away, which just blows people's minds.
I was looking at a patient's, they had a heavy metal report, not the music, but the heavy metals. Sorry. But it was really fascinating because they had heavy metal toxicity that would be related to or associated with like a nuclear power plant. And you could ask the patient their history, and I always say, do you live near this or downstream? And most everybody that you'll ask that question, they'll say that there's a factory. But this patient literally was saying, yes, there's a nuclear power plant that is just about 7 miles. And it was so much in the water table that the metals were just intoxicating them. So when we talk about heavy metals, and so it's in our body, what's your favorite product? You have a really good one, right? That helps with the metals?
So I use a bunch of different things, but my favorite by far is Takasumi. So Takasumi, it's made traditionally in Japan. It's carbonized bamboo. It's kind of like charcoal, but very different. A lot of heavy metal detox supplements out there, they either seem to be gentle and weak or strong and harsh. Takasumi is gentle and strong, which is one thing I love about it. Like it works amazing, but it seems very gentle on the body. If you look at traditional Japanese medical books, it talks about because the porous nature of bamboo, it tends to be about 10 times stronger than regular charcoal.
Wow.
But I don't know if this is true or not. A lot of people teach charcoal will deplete you of nutrients. So like you take it, it's going to lower your minerals. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's taught.
Yes.
A lot of medical doctors or people that run functional medical doctors that run a lot of labs, red blood cell analysis that tests like SpectraCell that measures basically nutrient levels inside red blood cells. They've been shocked and they're like, I had my patient take Takasumi for 6 or even 12 months and it didn't deplete their nutrients. So they've been shocked, and I've never seen it cause nutrient depletion symptoms. So I love it for that, and I use it for so many different types. Also, the other thing I'm always really cautious is a lot of the heavy metal detox products on the market are made with heavy metals, which is, it just seems like you're playing with fire. I mean, I don't know if you wanted me to go this way or not, but like one of the most popular heavy metal products out there is zeolite.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know moms that swear they gave it to their autistic kid and it did miracles, and I'm very happy it did. I'm not down in that at all. Yeah. But the thing is, what is zeolite? It's aluminum bound to silica. So yes, is the aluminum silica bound tight? Yes. If it says it's been third-party heavy metal tested, that just means it's not contaminated with lead. It still is made of aluminum. I mean, I'm sure you've had patients come in with aluminum toxicity. I've had patients come in with Alzheimer's from aluminum.
Yep.
And it's just kind of scary from that in my mind of like, you're literally ingesting aluminum. Most of it's not going to be absorbed. Some of it can dissociate and be absorbed, so you are getting in aluminum. But also one thing my dad and I have found is like, so let's say you have an aluminum issue. If you ingest aluminum, even if none of it was going to be absorbed, your body senses, oh, we just got exposed to more aluminum, and it's going to create a whole inflammatory reaction because like, wow, we're getting exposed to it, and your body's going to freak out. So it can almost like it basically just overstimulate your nervous system and put you in an inflammatory state, even if it doesn't get absorbed, which it does.
Wow, this is so good. Okay, so I know I wanted to talk so much more, but I want to ask this too. When you talk about inflammatory response, like a histamine overdrive. So we'll jump in and just say with foods. if you get a sensitivity to food, because we do a lot of testing to find out if a person has a sensitivity reaction to a certain food, are we finding, or are you finding that if they are sensitive, they have a hyper reaction, oh, I have tomatoes in my body. When you start to clean out the metals, clean out the infections, do you find that they get less sensitive to foods at times?
As a whole, 100%.
Yes.
I mean, whenever someone comes in to see me, I evaluate them. I put them on a fairly strict diet.
Yeah.
I put them on some sups. And my first goal is get them to feeling better.
Yes.
No matter what, I want to get them feeling better.
Yeah.
Then my next goal is, what supplements can you stop and still feel better? And what foods can you add back in your diet and feel better?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm going to tell someone, if I get you feeling better and you start doing Slurpees at 7-Eleven, no, I'm not going to be happy with you. But like, I would love it if everyone could eat organic sourdough bread. I'd love it if everyone could have raw dairy. I would love it if everyone could have some good organic salsa. But some people can't.
Yes.
If they want to feel well, they can't.
Yes.
Is that from all of the chemicals and ways we've destroyed our environment? Is it from emotional trauma? Whatever caused it, it's happened.
Yes.
So, but a lot of foods, when I have people avoid it, if you deal with different infections, you allow the gut to heal, you can reintroduce and people do well. But I definitely have some patients where they have to avoid gluten or dairy or nightshades or caffeine indefinitely. If they avoid it, they feel amazing.
Yes.
But if they add it, then they don't. And then I'm like, I've shown you how you can live a clean life.
Yes.
And then the rest is up to you.
You check the gums, you check the teeth. Are there possibilities that the gums could have something going on in there that makes their body get sick?
Definitely. There was a study about people, I believe it was with rheumatoid arthritis, and how like almost all of them had altered oral bacteria, basically, or it was a different flora in their mouth than other people. Mm-hmm. And you can actually get reinfected from it. So, I mean, a lot of different microbes can live in your mouth. That can be spirochetes, that can be others. And it can definitely make it harder for you to get healthy, let's just say.
Wow. Yeah.
And I mean, we've actually seen interesting, like some people get sick after having like a deep dental cleaning because like you almost had microbes hiding in your mouth, and then by cleaning it, it released them, and then it started flare-up symptoms. So definitely oral hygiene is very important. Product I use today, we use an essential oil blend, Oral Supreme, and I like to put that where the teeth meet the gums.
Yes.
And it seems to really help a lot. You have some really awesome natural, great dentists. And they'll actually do like swabs of your mouth and look at them under a microscope.
Yeah, yeah.
And we've had people go in after using like Oral Supreme, and the dentist is like, dang, I don't know what you did, but it's amazing. It's some of the cleanest slides I've ever seen.
I love it.
And also if you look in the mouth, so plaque is basically a biofilm. And a lot of essential oils have great biofilm degrading properties. I had this one patient, and she had so much plaque buildup that she had to go into the dentist every 3 months, and it was like 30 minutes of hard scraping to clear off her plaque.
What?
And she came to see me for lung issues. I didn't know anything about her mouth.
Yes.
And I was treating her for lung issues, including for biofilms, which showed up. And she went to the dentist like 3 weeks later, and she said she was there for like 10 minutes. Then they're like, we're done. And she's like, huh? It's always painful when I come in. They're like, you didn't have any plaque today. So I think if you can deal with biofilm issues, which goes along with just getting the body healthier, dealing with the parasites, with the candida, all of that. And then she was clean and she was thrilled. That's not why she came to see me, but she's like, what the heck?
No, I'm a testament to that, because I love using regimens, and I just take what I believe I need and I test. And I love when I go to the dentist at times. I'm not bragging. It really is. You can see the progression as I've done more herbal increase and cleanse the infections out. Man, you don't hardly have any plaque. And I remember the times when I was a kid, I used to have little problems with cavities and stuff. And it just shows that cleaning the internal the outward expression heals up. And man, I'm telling you, this is really good. I wish I could keep going. I know time can get away from us here, but because, Noah's visiting, he's here for a conference, he's speaking at conferences all over the world. And man, I want to keep going, but I'm just glad, man, that you got to join me here today, man. And
So much fun.
this is so fun. And can you let the people out there know your Instagram account and know where they can find you online?
If you search Dr. Noah Lebowitz or Instagram drnoah_DC.
Oh man, guys, you heard it here, and I'm glad you're here. It's like the time that the people wanted this. I had a great time. I'm telling you, whenever I listen to you and your dad, I always learn something. I'm really appreciative of all the work and research you do, especially Supreme. It's probably the main thing that I use in my office.
Can I chime in one thing real quick?
Yeah.
Just real quick. So one thing Chris started to talk about a little bit earlier, and then we got sidetracked, was about, it's like sometimes research looks good, but it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
And that is a problem with the internet. I'm going to be honest. You have a lot of health promoters, and maybe they got themselves healthy, which is awesome, but they don't treat people in and out. And people that treat a lot of patients have a much better perspective than people that don't treat patients.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest, I tell this guy to stop working as hard as he does. He sees so many patients. He sees people all the time, and he knows what works on people. And I think that's one cool thing of learning from Chris is he's in the trenches working on patients, too much in my opinion, but he's working on patients all the time, and you see what works. And I think that's why you definitely see people that just read the research and maybe just work on themselves give different recommendations than physicians that actually treat people on a day-to-day basis, because they don't see what worked on one people.
Yeah.
I mean, they might see what works on hundreds of people, and it definitely gives a little bit different perspective. So I just wanted to push Chris up for that.
Oh, thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. Yeah, I would say it does make a difference. When you treat patients and you see which herbals and which combinations come up, and it does change, give you a good perspective. And that's why I do love talking with you, and we can bounce ideas off of each other, because I know you're in the trenches, you're working on individuals, you're putting your hands on people and your life experiences. And that's why with the podcast, I really want to give people information that's practical to them, and that they know that you've had these experiences to help individuals. And man, I appreciate it so much for you coming in today and doing this, man.
Thank you. This was so much fun. It was a pleasure.
It was a blast. Okay, guys, remember, if you know anybody that has chronic or suspected microbial infections, any type of ailments that may not be explained, please follow Dr. Noah, check his information out. Look at the Supreme Nutrition Products page. It has great info, great research. If you know anybody else that does, send this podcast to them. Like and subscribe if you like this kind of info, and send us some comments if you want to hear some different info. We're always here to learn and help. Guys, from all of us here at the Ancient Health Podcast, Dr. Noah and I say goodbye and have a good night.
Thanks.
Before we wrap up, please remember that the information shared in this podcast is for educational purposes only and does not constitute the practice of medicine, nursing, or other professional healthcare services, including the giving of medical advice. No doctor-patient relationship is formed through this podcast, and the use of information here or materials linked from this podcast is at your own risk. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult with your healthcare provider before making any changes to your health regimen, and do not disregard or delay seeking medical advice for any condition you may have. Our content may include sponsorship and affiliate links, to which we earn a small commission on sales made through those links. Thank you for joining us today on the Ancient Health Podcast. We hope you've gained valuable insights into the harmony between Eastern and Western medicine. If you've enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, share, and leave us a review. Remember, true health is about balance, mind, body, and spirit. So stay tuned for more episodes where we continue to explore how ancient wisdom and modern science can work together to help you thrive. Here's to your health, balance, and well-being. I'm Dr. Chris Motley, and I look forward to our next episode together.